Welcome back to Tech Unscripted. This is season 2, and today we are talking about the workplace. We're not talking about just tools, we're talking about the way we have to approach this and the different mindset we're going to take. At Cisco, we talk about future-proof workplaces, and this is just not about agile and secure and resilient workplaces. This is around how we deal with new technology, new security threats, and how we deliver a wonderful experience to our employees. Today's conversation is going to be how we move from legacy workplace to the modern workplace. And I'm joined by a wonderful set of panelists today. Nitin, let's start with you. If you guys could all introduce yourselves, that would be great for the audience.
Cool. Thanks for inviting me. I'm from Oman, and I work for a company called GBM, Gulf Business Machines. So we are a Cisco Premium partner, and we support all segments of customers in their Cisco journey. And I work as a SME for collaboration. And my official title is Professional Service Engineer, where I take care of collaboration-related design, delivery, as well as the projects.
Thanks, Nitin. Oscar?
Yeah, my name is Oscar. I'm the Global Network Architect for BBA. I'm responsible for design the networking architecture for campus and branches all around the world where BBA is present. That's my role here.
Brilliant. Thank you for joining us today. Sibren?
Sibren, you pronounced my name correctly. So that's good. We tried it out beforehand. Sibren Bergkamp, owner of Three Corners. We focus on, in essence, the entire WebEx and Cisco collaboration stack. And we deliver those kind of services to government, to defense, ISPs. So it's really, really fun doing. And I'm very happy to be here. So good.
Brilliant. So we're going to have some real different thinking today, I hope. To get us going, we're going to have a little bit of quick fire, and we're going to have 3 rounds of this. Okay. I'm going to start with one word to describe today's workplace. Sibren, we'll start with you.
Hybrid.
Mm-hmm. Challenging.
Innovative.
Oh, nice. Good combinations there. Biggest myth about about modern workplace technology. Nitin, we'll start with you.
One word, sir.
One word, if you can. Or a phrase. We'll come back, don't worry. Oscar, we'll go to you.
Maybe flexible.
Okay,
yeah,
interesting.
Maybe.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What did you say? Quite
flexible.
Flexible. Yeah. One word. Well, that's a tough one.
Or a phrase. We'll take a phrase.
Yeah. What I think the biggest myth is, thinking out loud here, that's just my thing. It's the balance between remote and in office.
Okay.
And the experience between remote and in office, it's still way too different.
Okay, interesting. Well, we're going to get onto that later, so hold that thought. Yeah. Brilliant. Nitin?
Vision Zero.
Okay, interesting. We're going to get into this. This is great, guys. And then lastly, we've touched a little bit on it. Hybrid work, permanent or still evolving?
Still evolving.
Yeah. Still evolving. So we're not quite there yet?
No.
Okay, brilliant. Okay. Yeah. Guys, you've set a great scene for what's coming today. I feel like we've been practicing. Okay, we're going to start with vision, because I think it's interesting. Within Cisco, we've been through a huge process of actually going through our workplaces, and it's been a revolution, really, not an evolution. And we've had guiding principles, and this idea of an inclusive workspace where everyone's welcome and everyone can work how they want has been a real key driving principle for us. What's your vision for the workplace, and which technologies or trends do you see making the biggest impact in your organization? Oscar, let's start with you.
As we know, after the pandemic, everything changed in the workplace because everyone's go to work remotely. After that, some groups came back to the facility, so the user could work from everywhere. So the boundaries between the locally and remotely work is disappearing, but we have to keep one thing in mind, that is the security. So maybe the new technologies is heading to the security could be the key. For instance, the SASE technology.
Yeah. Is there a challenge with scale when you look at those sorts of things?
We have to. We have to keep in mind how many users we can handle from there remotely or in the facilities in the company.
Okay. Yeah. Sibren, yourself?
Well, from a vision perspective, what we see is a balance between, in essence, we are relearning how to deal with our office spaces and how we relearning between the balance between home and in office, and even from a meeting perspective, but also from a work perspective. you used to be, when you're in the office, you had a physical room and everyone jumps in the room and you had a meeting, right? Nowadays, almost half the people are in the room and the other half is still remote. So how do you balance that out in terms of engagement? How do you balance that out in how people at the office feel as a part of the meeting as the remote participant? And that's a challenge in terms of all the new technology we are already facing, such as the transcription technology is good for the remote participants, but for the in-office participants, it's still not good enough to have that done ready. So the balance between what you're saying, secure and it's very challenging. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do we have the technology to reach that balance? And if so, do you see companies implementing it properly?
That's a tough one. I do not see, what I've seen, no one is implementing it properly, because we also see it's not just technology, it's also mindset of people. Are we already ready for new technology? It's not just technology, it's also, for example, compliancy. For example, if you would like to do transcription in a meeting, how do I make sure that you are the one who's talking?
Yeah.
What do I need to do that I understand your voice, that it's being you speaking instead of someone speaking? So from a transcript perspective, from a summarization perspective, the technology is there, but are you ready to synthesize your voice and and let it store it somewhere in the cloud? That's challenging. And technology-wise, yes, we are here. But from my mindset or compliance-wise, no, we're not there yet.
And from these trends, Nitin, what is your view on? So what would your vision be if you were taking on a space today and looking to evolve that? Like, how would you approach that from a technology standpoint? And what trends do you think you'd have to tap into to ensure that it's successful?
Basically, we in Oman, we don't have that much of remote working culture. So it was there during the pandemic. So everything is coming back to the office. So we prefer to have more office kind of work rather than remote workers. But we do have companies where they promote remote working just for 1 or 2 days. So the remote workers are having problems in connecting with the office workers because the technology is not being properly used or deployed. So that's a big challenge what we are facing these days in Oman.
Interesting.
But may I ask, is it a mandated kind of methodology that the company is mandating people or employees getting back to the office instead of?
Yeah, so you can opt that whether you want to be in office just for a day or you want to be in remotely working.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
When you look at this, do you guys, just out of interest, Oscar, does BBVA mandate people back in the office or not?
It's a mix.
Okay.
You can choose when you go to the office or when you stay at home. But the real is you always need the same things to make your work.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
So it depends of the site. So if you are on-prem or you are at your home. So the key is create a new infrastructure that support both things. If you are remotely or you are in the company.
But that's more technology driven, right? It's not just technology. It's also the trust. It should be reflected back to the employees. So you need to do your job, right? Whether or not it's at home or at the office. So you need to decide where you can do your job best.
Yeah.
And the company and everything else should make sure that you are, how do you call that?
The technologies are being expanded to the
Exactly.
To the remote region.
Yes, I need to cover you to make sure you can do your job, but no matter where you are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this. Hybrid work then, technical challenge or policy challenge?
Policy challenge.
Yeah.
Okay, talk to me a little bit more about that.
So when it comes to working from home, to be honest, like I feel like you work more than being in office because you need to be most of the time, you need to be available, and we do have problems that the mindset of the people saying that, okay, you will be always available when you're working from home.
Okay.
So when you're in office, you are stick to the working hours.
Is that an issue where, I found interestingly during the pandemic, well, not so much during the pandemic, but if I work from home, with 3 kids, I find quite difficult to shut off from work. So if I say finish at 6, I actually quite enjoy that train ride home, that 45-minute gap between the office and home where I can decompress and swing my focus. Do you almost think, therefore, when you look at policy, it's interesting what you talk about there, Nitin, when you look at policy, it's not just about we have to have you in the office because maybe we don't trust you, but actually there's a little bit of a health, there's a well-being piece around actually balancing between home and the office. Because if you work from home, you could fundamentally work till 10 or 11 at night without taking a break. Is that kind of in the thinking that you're seeing?
Yes. Yeah. So you need to be always available. Yeah. So when I work from home, one thing my wife always says, you're always sitting in front of your laptop.
It's true, but I have a slightly different opinion on it. I found it more relaxing in such a way that the time was more your own. So it was you who could balance things out. For example, my kids are a little bit older, but your kids are younger. So you can easily bring your kids to school and start working after that, or start working before that. For example, or doing some sports in the middle of the day. You go, and so you don't have to have a predefined time of you need to work, and after that you're good to go. So it's a different balance. And for me, I found that new balance fits me better, so that I can decide what to do on the day. Of course, you have your meetings. Of course, you have the things you need to be done. But it's me deciding how I get that done, and not someone else.
Are you seeing any difference in the way people approach this, depending on perhaps a generation they're from?
Probably, and I think that's also maybe also from a management perspective, company management perspective, because I see quite a lot of kind of old school mindsets. Management tend to like to see people at the office, so that they can see, okay, you are there, check.
Okay.
And they tend to care less on what you do, how productive you are. They tend to not see that, or they tend to not be able to manage that one because they are at a certain level. They don't really know what you're doing, right? So, and that's what you already mentioned, the trust level. If the management do trust you or us better and how to do our job, it doesn't really matter where you do that. It's up to us to decide when we need to meet up or go to the office or that kind of stuff.
So clearly, we need the tech, but if the policy is not there to create that inclusive environment, the whole thing can fall apart pretty quickly. Which I suppose brings me on to my next piece. We went through a huge process of looking at things like space utilization, which was not effective. Just things like small collaboration spaces where I can get on video, I can have a wonderful experience with someone who is remote. We clearly didn't have a lot of those in our offices. How have you guys looked, again, internally with the BBVA, with your customers, how have you looked to actually use data analytics to understand space utilization? And therefore, as you plan for the future, how do you take that data and actually say, we're going to future-proof this workplace and give the employees what I like to call productive space? What's the journey been there? Nitin, perhaps I'll start with you. What's your journey been with your customers when you look at the data piece?
So we always rely on the control hub data, because most of the meeting rooms, I often see that's the ghost meetings. So they book the meeting rooms and they don't present, nobody's present in the meeting.
Yep.
So if I look at our meeting room utilization, there are 20% of ghost meetings. So this data is useful for us to say that, okay, I can inform the employees or the users that, okay, you're booking the rooms and you're cutting down the opportunity for the other people.
Yep.
So they even book the big rooms and they sit on a smaller one, or they sit on the desk and answer the meetings. So data is very important for organizations to find out how the rooms have been used, whether if we want to shrink the rooms or if we want to expand it. So this data is very important for the companies. And to my customers are using this data to expand it. So I have a customer where they're expanding their meeting rooms from 5 to 18 based on the data being pulled from the control hub. So,
and Oscar, BBVA, I would hate to think how many rooms...
We have the same challenge. We have the same challenge. We have to optimize the space. So in some cases, we have to reduce or expand the meeting room, because in the past, we didn't have the how many people are using the meeting rooms, and that could be one of the focus of how do you use the data. The data could be used for that, but could be used in order to maybe resolve some kind of issue to reduce the downtimes.
The meeting experience of the users. Because
the user experience is based on data. In that way, a great tool that could help us is the AI.
Yep.
In order to resolve faster or prevent some kind of issue, to give into the user a good experience.
Yeah, and I suppose that experience becomes critical because, like humans seem to have this thing. If I try something once and it doesn't work very well, my desire to give it another attempt is
low,
is minimized heavily.
Exactly, yeah.
And that must have a huge impact on. If you've made a significant investment, it must have an impact on that. Sibren, you've worked with a number of public sector customers, and space with them is a whole different beast altogether. Are you sort of seeing the same thing around of how that world is beginning to use data? And
Oh yes, for sure. One of the customers I work with, they have hundreds and hundreds of buildings and rooms to maintain, and it will be almost impossible to put in. Of course, I would love to have a room kit in every room, right? That's because then you can utilize the sensors from the room, as room devices as well. But that's impossible. So you also need to rely on other types of measurement, like Wi-Fi or the hotspotting or other technology to make sure the sensor and the data information is really getting in and get consolidated into one entity. But that's the hard part because we have multiple buildings, multiple vendors. The fun one is that we had the chance to stick on Cisco room devices. So wherever we do have a meeting room, it's Cisco room device. So we can already utilize the sensors in the room device. So that's good. So that's good. So it's challenging to make sure you get a uniform data entry approach.
Is there an argument as well? The data is critical, and
Yeah.
it kind of gives you a truth, I suppose. If something can be measured, you can find a truth in it. How important, though, it is to take that and add, I would say, what I'd call a human element to it. We've got a specific space in our city office, which was really wholly down to a designer. And it's probably one of my favorite places to go. If I know I'm in for a bit of an interesting forecast call, it's a very calming space. It was a space that was not driven by data. We've put them in a number of offices, and they've proved to be amongst the most popular space we have. Is it really important as well to work, hey, we've got the data, we kind of know what we want to do with 90% of it. Is it important to have sort of 10% of that design that perhaps focuses a little bit more on the human being themselves? Do you guys sort of see what I mean?
It depends how you. For example, could you dive in a little bit more how that room looks? Is that a room without any
No,
tech?
it's got a WebEx board at the front.
Yeah.
And it's got this kind of like, it's a blue sofa, so it's kind of, the color is a little bit out of keeping with some of the other aesthetics. It's got lovely soft furnishings. Behind the sofa is this kind of like, I would almost call it like a bar with bar stools. It's just a very different vibe in terms of you go in there, it's calming. I find it a really lovely space to work in. It wasn't something we looked at as, this is an ideation space.
Yeah.
This is going to be sort of more of a theatre kind of style space. We looked at it as something that would be a little bit different for the employees. Let's see what they kind of make of it. And I found it to be a wonderful space within which to work. Do you kind of see that ability to say, hey, we've brought in a designer and they're going to add a little bit of a human element to it rather than just something that's very data-driven?
Yeah, but that's a tough one because now you see really the interworking between not just IT, but also the facility teams, which are really needed to get those kind of meeting rooms done. But also the council workers, council environment, for example, to make sure from an HR perspective, you really need to get all those people together in the same room, for example, to really decide on how you're going to move forward on that one. And that's not the traditional meeting room with the table and the chairs.
Correct.
Exactly, and I really loved it. But it's hard. It's because it's not traditional. It's out of the box thinking, and that's you really need to guide the right people on board.
That mostly work in the CEO's meeting rooms.
Okay.
Because in my GM's room, there is a couch where he sits from there and he can attend the meeting. So it's for a normal users, I think the traditional one will be more interested by the admins and the HRs. It seems.
Yeah, but I think it depends on for example, you and me, we need a laptop, we need something, a note-taking. So it's from our perspective, but we cannot reflect how we work, how other ones would like to work. So I really love those approaches,
Oscar, you mentioned AI. It's been a big topic of Cisco Live this week, and rightly so. I'm sort of going to look at this from two angles. I want to sort of approach this first from the network. Now, work for Cisco, of course, network's foundational. We are in a world where what we use the network for, I think, is just changing dramatically. The stress and strain that we are putting on the network is changing. AI workloads are coming. They're here. That's not going to change. I'm really keen to understand from your perspective is how are you preparing to build flexibility into that network to be able to take these new workloads and use them successfully across the business?
That's the big challenge. That's the key. That's the key. And I think we had to rely on the tools, on the new tools, for instance, the AI.
No.
Because in our business, the financial business, the time is critical. So every time you have an issue, you have to resolve fast. Yeah. And that's the way we are relying on the AI to identify what's the root cause of the issue. It could be the base of the new networking, maybe using this technology in order to improve our troubleshooting.
Yeah. But are you saying the same?
But the AI should not hallucinate.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly.
During the troubleshooting, it's gonna mess up.
I'd be interested to know as well, historically, I think when we've looked at budgeting for technology, it's been quite a cyclical, linear thing. Here's the budget, go work with it. Given the speed of innovation we're seeing in areas like AI, are we finding that, certainly the customers you're working within BBVA, are you finding that how people approaching or how CFOs now approaching spend and budget has to become certainly more flexible because your needs could change very, very quickly?
Yeah.
Are you seeing that?
We are working on that. We're working on that because you have to be careful when you spend money in new technology. So we are analyzing the IOPS in order to resolve these kind of things we are facing globally, because the challenge we have not only in one country, we are in several countries. We are to try to identify one common tool in order to resolve all issues. The issue we have in the different countries are very different, because in Latin America, the infrastructure of networking is totally different than Europe and America. So the challenge is even harder. So we have to be careful when we have to invest in some product that we are not sure that is mature enough.
Yeah. So you still need a business case, or from a cost perspective, but also from a usability or value perspective?
For both.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
both.
Yeah. And then AI kicks in. It's new, it's challenging, you need to trust it. Hallucination, you already mentioned. But also, what value will it bring in? How more quick you can react on changing data and react on that one. So that's,
If I switch from AI and workloads in the network to the employee or the user, at the moment, do you see AI solving real-world employee problems, or is it at the moment adding complexity? Nitin, I'll start with you.
Adding complexity.
Talk me through that a little bit.
So I can give you an example where I was doing a troubleshooting with the customer side where I know the problem, how it can be solved, and the customer put that in the ChatGPT and he got an answer in a structured manner. So he said, give it a try. So that added up my 1 hour to prove that that's wrong. And then I went to go back to my solution, which worked. So,
okay.
But that's kind of a amplification on the hallucination perspective, right? So that's
So in many of the AI tools, we see options which doesn't even exist.
Okay.
And we spend time
Yeah.
on exploring that.
Yeah.
So that's a problem in end user level. And if you're putting the data given to the AI, it's not always true that they're going to give you the right answers. So sometimes it's going to be wrong, and you need to have a quick analysis of what they've given, or ask more questions. So what I've seen is some of the AI tools has given a precise answer if you ask more.
Okay.
So you have to say that this is not right, this is not right. So maybe in 5 attempts you will be getting the right.
Similar for you, Oscar? How do you see that with the BBVA?
It's depends of the user.
Okay.
For the technical user that they have the knowledge to refuse the answer, it's easier because you know how to use that tool. For instance, you have to analyze a big amount of data or correlate from different tools. It's very useful.
Yeah.
But if you give this tool to the normal user, it could be tricky, maybe.
Yeah. I suppose then it comes to, it's interesting what you talked about there. Like so many successful deployments for any technology, enabling the user with training and understanding becomes critical, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Sibrin, I'm interested in the public sector here, AI and usability in the public sector. What are you seeing in that space at the moment?
I think we really are about to make big steps. For example, we turn on translation and subtitling, which is in essence underneath is an AI-based technology, which is being adopted very, very well. But the essence is, are we saying it's an AI-driven toolset? No, we're not saying it's an AI-driven toolset. It's a new feature, and that I think AI is becoming a buzzword. So if we slightly move away from AI as a buzzword, but use the features which is AI-driven, and it's not just transcription, summarization, but also features users already tend to use on a daily basis, like noise removal, like visual enhancements, the coloring. It's all AI-driven, all machine learn-based technology. But if you do not put in AI in front of it, it comes pretty more easy being adopted as a technology. So I think my intent is, do not put AI as a word in front of everything you do. It may be AI-driven, but from a user perspective, you're good to go.
It is
they really like it.
It is amazing how much functionality we already actually have that leverages that AI piece, isn't it? I think we quite easily forget that.
That's a nice concept, that AI-driven, because that gives people to adapt it more than considering that AI. We have to think of the data analysis.
Exactly.
Compliance issues and all those things. Get rid of that.
Because if you really circle back, for example, as an example, the room devices 5 years ago already used large language model and machine learning technology to enhance audio. We didn't call that AI back then. But if we reinvent that today, we put in AI in front of it. So
AI noise cancellation.
And it's the same kind of concept. So that's my intent, to not to put AI, but put it more on a feature perspective, from a functional perspective, from a user. So you get summarization, you get action items, you get whatever, but do not call it AI in front of it. And that's Cisco is not doing too good a job, because they need to put AI in front of everything. Using other terminology, it would be way better to make it more adopted to end users.
Really interesting perspective. Thank you. Now, we've talked a lot about investing at changing the workplace. How do you begin to measure success, and what does ROI look like when it comes to modernizing the workplace? Nitin, I'm going to start with you on that one, and we'll work that way.
So we were having just one meeting room in our previous office, and we have expanded that to 7. And I can see a lot of meetings happening, a lot of discussions, how this been happening these days, because it's fully utilized. So from a management level, it's a success for us, because a lot of meetings are happening, a lot of discussions happen, a lot of decisions are getting done from those meetings. So for us, it's a success story.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Oscar, I'd love to know this in BBVA.
Yeah. As I mentioned before, we have to give the chance to the final user, to do the things they have to do, spend their time in opening tickets, for instance,
Yeah.
in order to resolve some kind of problem they have in every day. And that's the way we measure if the technology is helping to the user to do his things to do very easily.
Okay.
Yeah.
So ability to actually do your job becomes really critical,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Well, measuring, from my opinion, is still tough. So we are, for one of my bigger clients, we are going to pilot Cisco Spaces to indeed measure real in-depth how the meeting rooms and offices are being used. So based on all the sensor data, but also on how devices are used. All those data will be measured and put in Cisco Spaces. So that's a huge amount of work from a technology and architectural approach to get that done. But then we have the data, real data, on how meeting rooms are used, and it can be from a usability perspective, from how many people are in the room, what technology they are using, are they in a meeting or doing the whiteboarding. So we get all those data in, and based on that data, then you really get on the next level in terms of getting hold of how users are using the technology you are put into place. So also from a business value perspective, you really can measure that one. And next to just value, you can also align adoption teams.
Yeah.
Because then you can see how features are, when features are underutilized, and make sure that they get the right communication or whatever is needed to train people to use those technology.
Yeah.
If you were to look at your business or your customers that you work with, what do you see as their biggest workplace priority in the next 12 months? It's a big one. It's a big one.
Yeah,
I know.
that's a big one. That's a big one. The biggest challenge I see is hybrid work is not getting away. It's not moving away. So that's there. So we are used to it and we like it, and we see really the balance for not having a need, not having a need to have everyone in the same meeting room or at the office. So we see that how that works. We've proven that for the last 5 years. The next thing is that we have focused on remote participant. So joining a meeting, and then we have a room device in a meeting room, for example. We're kind of forgetting the people in the room.
Okay.
So they are there. So we have facilitated for everyone from as a remote participant, but the people in the room. And we see good things happening. For example, the new PTC cameras and the cinematic modes, so to bring them in a meeting. But I think what I already mentioned before is that from a transcription point of view, how do I make sure that you are the one that's talking, for example? That technology is not there yet, and I think if we can bring that one in, and also the blending of technology, so not just room device, but also Wi-Fi and the network interacting. How fun would it be that the network detects that you are already in the office, that you are walking to the room, and it knows you, and and it detects that you are together with the sensor, detects that you are in the meeting room, and it already opens up the meeting you are attending, because it knows you are there, and it knows in the right room, and it knows you have a meeting. How fun would that be?
I think that this is the challenge: is to give to the user the same experience. It doesn't depend of the location where the user is. It's in home, office.
Yeah.
The user moves.
Yeah.
And they have to have the same experience in the wireless, in the wire. You have to access to all the tools they need to make his working day.
Correct. Correct.
That's the challenge.
Yeah, that's a challenge.
And keeping the security.
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah. No,
security is a key point.
Yeah,
So whether you work on remote or whether you are in office, it should be secured. So that's going to be always the customer's priority.
So for you, security remains that key piece. And again, I think we touched on that at the very beginning. Folks, I want to finish with a bit of a quick fire round. One question. And again, you can phrase it a little bit here. We're not looking for one-word answers. One thing that organizations should stop doing with their workplace technology. I'll let, no order here. I'll let you guys come at me with whatever you feel comes to mind straight away.
Tend to control the office space in terms of
interesting.
Technology For example, technology now brought in, for example, you can reserve your desk.
Yep.
I don't want to reserve my desk.
Interesting.
I want to.
We hear that. We hear that from a lot of
I want to walk in the office because I feel now I need to go to the office, or I do not tend to prepare too much. So I just want to walk in the office and get to a desk, and maybe see what's available, and then I just walk to a desk. And I should not be bothered by any buttons to push and things to reserve. That should be fixed.
That would create simplicity, I think, as well. Oscar?
Use hard rules for flexible working.
Okay.
That's the difference. You have to change the mind.
Okay. Yeah, and that's a big thing to do, right?
Yeah.
Nitin?
When it comes to me, I will say that the companies purchase or procure products, and they keep that for 10 years. By the 10 years time, there might be 5 new enhancements happen.
Yeah.
Let's say an example is like we have a meeting room where we put up one PTC. By the time Cisco has announced a Vision PTC, and the CrossView has come. So we have to enhance. So if the company is saying that, okay, we have one product, we will be using this for the next 10 years, shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So we have to get enhanced each time when the innovations are happening. So we have to couple with the latest trends and moving forward.
Yeah, it feels like we are in a world now where you can't let yourself get into technological debt effectively.
Exactly.
Guys, thank you. This has been absolutely wonderful speaking with you. I think what's really, really clear is the workplace is going to continue to go through a huge evolution. The employee certainly has to be at the front and center of it. But I think for the first time, we're seeing an area of the world or area of the workplace where we are truly having to move away from siloed technologies. The network, security, collaboration, observability are truly having to come together to deliver a future-proofed workplace. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you all for watching. Have a great day.